Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with the Learn Plan Profit. Hope you guys are all having a great start to the morning, and my TOS is already frozen. All right, give me 1 second. All right, here we go. Hope you guys are all having a great start to the morning. I'm going to be restarting my Thinkorswim just because it's already showing some signs of it glitching. Natural gas has been showing signs of an uptrend. Let's see. Good morning, good morning. What are you guys watching today? Let's see, it's a huge sell-off on DGAS, right? Dropped down to lows of like 117.50, which if I'm not mistaken are kind of lower lows. So /CL, yeah, I do see /CL is showing signs of an uptrend, correct? Yep. All right, so waiting for the oil report. Okay, I like it. Nice. Here we go. Should be loading now. All right. There we go. We should have everything. Why is this thing not focused? All right. Here we go. So natural gas, let's go ahead and break this down. So a lot of people are saying that they're paying attention to /CL. /CL, based off of where it closed at, was showing signs of an uptrend, began to downtrend, began to uptrend, began to downtrend, and then now became extremely, you could see with the RSI, you could see with the MACD, a little bit more on the overbought side. Yes, it can continue to uptrend. Based off previous patterns, it makes sense on why it can pull back. So just keep a close eye on this to see if it holds above the overall EMA line or if it actually begins to make lower lows. We can set our alert right here just so we can get alerted on our side if /CL begins to sell off. And again, it doesn't matter if you're watching for the crude oil report or not. I think it's just good to pay attention and to understand the overall direction of what it is that you're trading. So /NG. How do you guys feel about this? So /NG, I should be able to pop this up right over here. Here we go. /NG, how do you guys feel about this? So it became extremely overbought, sold off. Extremely overbought, sold off. Look at the RSI, look at the MACD. This is what I'm paying attention to right now. So the more that this thing begins to confirm a downtrend, the more confirmation I have that DGAS can potentially push up, right? So as of right now, it's not selling off. It's just consolidating around this general area, which it tends to do pretty often. It did bounce off the middle view up, so I think that, keeping a close eye on this, it's still indicating signs of an uptrend. So if you're someone that, is under the PDT rule, maybe is within like the last couple of day trades that you have available, this is probably not something that overall direction is not in your favor. The margin probably of profit is not in your favor, and trading against the overall direction just isn't going to be something that you probably want to do. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up on that. Going to sell off. Are we going to get a recap video today? We should be able to get a recap video. Hopefully I can do all my trading just within this live stream. So if I could break $1,000 profit within this live stream, I'm going to leave it at that, and I don't want to trade anymore after that. So we'll see. Let's see. All right, there we go. Nice little push up on UGAS, or natural gas, right? Omar calling out SPXL. Thank you again for posting in the ticker call out format. Here we go. Okay, so it's pulling back right now. It looks like it bounced off the SMA line yesterday, so we'll have to see if that pattern follows. Overall, 180-day chart, very consistent uptrend pattern. Okay, definitely looks a little bit on the overextended side and looking at previous patterns, so maybe the 20-day 1-hour chart might be a better indicator when it gets closer to the SMA line. So we still have a lot of margin for it to sell off to be viewed as a good deal, but good call out on that. Hey, what's going on? Welcome. What's going on, Ozzy? What's up? TSS. Here we go. Let's check out the 20-day 1-hour chart. Okay, nice little uptrend there. 180-day chart, yeah, very consistent. It's just extremely overbought, and I wouldn't view this as really a good deal. On the 20-day 1 hour chart, you could see like when it normally bounces at, especially closer to the SMA line, it does have a very consistent uptrend pattern. So look at the MACD, look at the RSI. If you see any sign of a support, I think it does a really good job holding in between and close to or near to that EMA line. But I would just keep a close eye to see if it does begin to indicate signs of a sell-off. Then obviously being able to buy closer to the SMA line might be viewed as a better deal, especially if it continues that overall uptrend pattern. Do you think that DGAS is reversing? Well, that's what we're waiting out for, Adam. It doesn't matter like what I think. It's right now we're just waiting for it to begin to sell off, right? Keeping it that simple. That's kind of where I'm at right now. We've been getting a lot of consolidation for natural gas, right? So it was selling off. It began to push up very aggressively for about 2 days, and then it's kind of just been consolidating. So it's no longer selling off, right? So when it comes down to looking at it a little bit more on the on the 180-day chart, we can definitely get rejected by the SMA line, but looking at it on the 3-year chart, just like we've talked about before, it's definitely showing signs of a potential support, just like we expected around this general area. So it's not bouncing just yet, but it's not selling off anymore. So I think that's pretty attractive. Are you going to trade the oil report? No, I personally don't trade the oil report, but doesn't mean that you can't. Yeah, Brendan, I would agree that 13 stocks, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having 13 stocks in your watch list, but maybe having one or two that you're really paying attention to that meet all your criteria. I think that's what would be most important to me, making sure that you're extremely selective with like that the direction is in your favor, that the margin of profit is worth it, that it's consistent, that it has a track record to continue its previous pattern. And then you can go a little bit more into maybe the fundamentals of like, okay, well, this is a very reputable company, and this one would make a little bit more sense, making it a little bit of a safer trade. So there's a series of different things that you can check off that will allow you to filter a series of those 13 stocks. And again, I just want to remind you that if you want me to break down the stock that you are calling out, right, that you post it in the ticker call out format just like Adam did. So SLCA. There we go. So earnings, nice push up over 6% on the day, 20-day 1 hour chart. Okay, so I could see why it could bounce around this general area, right? So overall SMA line, it was downtrending. It looks like it began to try to uptrend. And if this pattern continues, again, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't have to. So it's bouncing here right around this SMA line. So I would wait for higher highs and see if that overall pattern continues. RSI and MACD look pretty decent, so could call out on that, and then based off previous patterns around 1850, or if it tries to make higher highs would make sense, but again, we'll have to wait out and see. Here we go. Semi-alerts. Let's see. There's not enough data for me to really like make a decent like analysis off this, especially since it's been selling off after this huge push up. I would find that to be kind of suspicious. Overall direction is not in our favor. There's not enough technicals for me to be able to make like a sound decision, and it just continues to sell off. So because of that, again, just there's a series of different reasons on why I personally would not trade this, because all those factors are against me. So just understand, I would say that DRIP. What is the length of your SMA line? 180, just like I explained in the course. Here we go. Yeah, so I did want to talk about drip. This is actually one that I was going to bring, or that I was going to post today in the Learn Plan Profit chat for my group alerts. Looking at previous patterns, it normally gets rejected close to or near to the overall SMA line, and you can see the same thing is happening right now, where it's really struggling to make higher highs, and it doesn't mean that it has to, it just means that it can based off previous patterns. So if you look at the inverse ETF, which is Gush, you look a little bit closer, especially like on the 20-day 1 hour chart, if you pay attention to that. It did break below the overall SMA line, but it did have a pattern of bouncing off the SMA line. So I would just keep a close eye out for that to see if, okay, is this thing going to bounce? Or if it's not, then it's going to begin and continue to sell off. Then obviously pay attention to DRIP. But as of right now, I think it'd be very interesting to kind of like just give it a little bit more time for it to identify its direction. Alrighty. Yeah, so good call out on that. IIPR. So we've talked about this one before, and I removed it off my watch list because it hit the resistance just like we expected it at right around $87. So it became overbought, no longer a good deal. So therefore, I did not care for it because, again, it's not a good deal. So it's a nice uptrend pattern, just like we talked about it when it was at $80. It pushed up, became overbought. Look at the MACD, look at the RSI. And now it makes sense on why it can sell off. So yes, it's going to have some nice little pushes up as the downtrend. Overall direction just isn't in our favor. So because of that, that's why I'm deciding to simply no longer pay attention to it. All right, here we go. Ticker symbol O. Okay. So nice little consistent uptrend pattern. Right now it's getting rejected by that SMA line that used to act as a support, now acting as more of a resistance. So I would keep a really close eye out for that. I already have my alert set. So right now would not be something that I would want to trade just because the SMA line, which is right here, is at a resistance. So give me 1 quick second, team. I have to blow my nose again. 1 second. Sorry about that. Right on schedule. Isaac, you cracked me up. Yeah, so natural gas, if anything, it's almost trying to build a support right now on /NG. So I would most likely think that it might still just continue to uptrend. So we'll wait out on that. But here we go. Hey, what's going on, Sergio? What's up? What's up? We had a couple breakdowns here. So ticker symbol PE. I'm just gonna add, yeah. So PE, strong downward pattern. Overall, try to push up. Now descending. I don't know enough about this company. I wouldn't feel comfortable enough holding it, especially coming with its up and coming earnings. Yeah, just not something that I would want to partake in. There's a lot of different factors. Overall, just direction, and it's not consistent enough. And because of that, I would not want to hold this as of right now. DIS, we've talked about this. It's extremely overbought, overextended. We talked about this like 2-3 days in a row. Look how overbought it is. It makes sense on why it can pull back, and it was no surprise that once the news becomes a little bit less relevant, so again, certain things can come out that will try to drive the price back up. But ultimately, again, just keeping it super simple. Look where it's trading at. Look where it was trading at, and it just makes sense that it's potentially due for a pullback. So because of that, it would not be a surprise to me if it just begins to sell off and begins to correct itself. So that's kind of my breakdown on that one. Here we go, AGX. Okay, so nice little push up. It's selling off as of right now, still below the EMA line. So it looks like the MACD and the RSI are trying to find a support. We can set an alert here for the overall reversal, but again, it's kind of just consolidating right now, which it's done before, and then just continues to sell off. So again, look at previous patterns. What does it normally do, and what does it need to do for it to change its overall direction? So don't just think that because it breaks above the EMA line that it's time to buy, because it did that, once, twice, and then got rejected both times in the past 2 to 3 weeks. So let's just not get ahead of ourselves, right? Here we go. QHC. Okay, strong downward pattern. Overall SMA line acts as a resistance. Look where it's at right now. Do you see why this one would be at a resistance? Right, 180-day chart, strong resistance based off previous patterns. Patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't have to. Yes, this thing can shoot up to $5, but really, looking at previous patterns, it makes more sense on why it will begin to get rejected around this general area. Look at the RSI and look at the MACD. So that would be my breakdown on that. It just wouldn't be something that I would want to pay attention to. The margin of profit isn't worth it. The direction isn't worth it. Just the pattern is descending. So as of right now, it wouldn't be a huge focus for me. Just following up with Google. There we go. Following up with Gosh. Okay. Why do I have this one? I don't know why I have this in my watch list. Target, again, still kind of just consolidating, so I'll set an alert on this one for both sides. There we go, TQs. TQ is still a little bit more on the overbought side, so Tesla, I was going to talk about this one because it's so oversold. It's trying to consolidate. It's trying to find a support. As of right now, not really doing too well, So overall direction just isn't in our favor. Yes, it looks like it's a good deal, and if it continues this pattern, it'll try to reverse back up. But there's just a lot of just negative news right now towards Tesla. So I would just keep a close eye out on that. CWT, we talked about this one yesterday, right? So consolidating right now, still hasn't broken above that resistance. Ticker symbol BA, overall SMA line acting as a resistance. So yes, it can try to push up, but we need that confirmation first. There we go, 1 minute, there we go. It's trying to push down. We'll have to see where it goes. LABU. We're doing a lot of breakdowns today. I feel like within the past 20 minutes, we've done a decent amount of breakdowns. How do you guys feel about this one? There's a lot of inconsistencies, right? So downward pattern, uptrend pattern, downward pattern, right? So there's LABU and then there's LABD, right? Looking at previous reversals, previously it was above the SMA line, right? So this makes sense on why it was uptrending. Now it broke below the SMA line. Overall direction is descending. So yes, based off of recent patterns, we could try to see that, okay, well, hopefully it bounces around $46, but there's no confirmation or indication of that just yet. And even on the day, it's selling off as of right now, looking at previous lows. Yes, it could try to find a support here right around $47, but this is where I see some traders make mistakes of because this thing is descending, they try to look at yesterday's support and they think that it's going to bounce there, and then they think it's going to peak out at the same resistance, but because it's descending, it most likely will make lower lows and lower highs as well, which means that you don't end up buying at the same support because it actually continues to sell off, and then doesn't make sense to sell at the same resistance because it probably isn't going to hit that same price point. So there's just a series of different factors that I think play against you. Again, keeping it super simple when the direction just isn't in your favor. So James, but I appreciate the call out, and I hope it plays out. Anyway, here we go. AUDC. All right. Okay, nice uptrend pattern. Aggressively sold off because of earnings, so potential dip buy opportunity. Now we just have to wait for confirmation. I don't know anything about this company. I mean, I like the dip buy opportunity, but what makes it, not possible for this thing to continue to sell off, right? Confirmation, and maybe when it actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend. So I would wait out for that. So I appreciate the call out. Alrighty. UWT. So we already talked about /CL, right? /NG just broke below. Wow. Okay. So we'll see if natural gas continues to sell off. Yeah, UWT as of right now looks like it's trying to find a support, 20-day 1 hour chart. Again, just like Gush, right? This is why I've talked about this before. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the correlation. There's not an exact correlation between GUSH and /CL, but that's the closest future that I've been able to identify other than its index, which is like the SPIOCO, which I don't care for indexes because they trade the same as the ETFs, so it's irrelevant to watch something that does not trade longer than the actual ETF itself. Like, that's never really made sense to me. Like, yes, it follows that closer, but who cares? Why not just watch the actual ETF then? UWT is the only, not UWT, but /CL is the only future that I've been able to see that has it somewhat of a correlation to Gush itself. So unlike the natural gas report or the crude oil report goes up, and if it pushes up or pushes down, usually I tend to see some form of influence on /CL. On Gush. Wow, too many tickers getting messed up. Here we go. So I'm gonna go in a little light. Here we go. I don't know. It's been getting rejected at the middle VWAP. It's not even worth it. If that pattern continues, and look at the RSI and look at the RSI and look at the MACD, it's already overextended. I have to pay attention to my indicators. This might not be a safe bet. I might have to give it a little bit more time to either aggressively push up and then identify that, change its overall direction, or wait for this thing to become so overextended that then if it continues to sell off, then I can buy UGAS, right? So I would love to take part of this right now, but it just wouldn't make too much sense as of right now. Do you guys get why? Let me explain myself one more time. Any updates on your HOA? I was thinking of making an update video today. They had a meeting 2 days ago on Monday, and I didn't go, but my roommates went, and I wanted to provide you guys with an update, but I was like, I don't know if people care enough to really do it, but it's kind of just all like, I don't even really want to talk about it, but yeah. So overall, right now, DGAS is descending, right? So why would I not want to take a position if right now natural gas is selling off? So looking at /NG, right? /NG, it's selling off. Why don't I want to take a position on DGAS? It doesn't mean that I don't want to. Trust me, I do, right? But looking at it, it normally gets rejected around this middle VWAP area, right? So if this pattern continues, then look at the MACD and look at the RSI. These aren't showing signs of it like being a super good deal or that it's super oversold or anything of that sort. So because of that, it's showing signs of a potential rejection around this general area. So if I buy there, yes, my hope and desire is that natural gas continues to sell off, but based off of previous patterns, it makes sense on why it can sell off. So one thing that I can do is if it does end up getting rejected around this general area, then because this is so overbought, that means that UGAS in its uptrend descend, right? In its uptrend descend, right? That it makes sense on why then this one would be a good deal, which then I can later sell for a profit. But again, I have to give it more time for it to identify its direction. So you wrong, DGAS will grow. Again, I don't care. Like, if DGAS grows, great. I hope it does, but I need the confirmation, and that's the whole point that I'm trying to talk about. Like, I don't care hope you know that. I'm not going for like, UGAS or DGAS. I don't care. I want whichever one to go up, but the direction for it to be clear and for it to be continuous. Okay, there we go. So nice little sell-off. Again, natural gas is still above the overall middle VWAP, so not bad. Yeah, confirmation is key, right? So you can try to care for like, oh man, I hope this one goes up. I hope that one goes up. Again, your opinion, just like mine, is irrelevant to what the actual stock or ETF will do. So it's better just to wait for confirmation. My HOA is always screwing me over. There's such negative, and again, I love making videos that like like people can share their opinions about. But I don't know if you guys checked out the HOA. The whole point of me making that video was not to like, oh, like screw HOA or anything like that. But there's a lot of people that like don't like HOAs. And there's just a lot of negative things that were shared in that video. Nothing about me. Everyone was like super supportive, like, yeah, you should sue them and stuff like that. But it was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to make another video just because, like, that's kind of ugly, right? Like, why am I going to make videos that brings like the ugly out of people? Like, I don't want hate or anything like that. So it was just a little crazy. But what is HOA? That's funny. Yeah, both of my houses that I own right now are under an HOA. So pretty well, yeah, homeowner association, right? Did your video work? I guess I'll have to make a follow-up video just so you guys understand kind of like where our community's at and stuff like that with like the decision on the trees. And it's not even the decision on the trees. I think it just I don't even want to yeah, it's irrelevant. We have just a couple minutes left. I don't want to waste it talking about annoying people. And I'm not even talking about the HOA. I'm talking about the people that live in this community that just complain about like the most irrelevant things. All right. Any breakdowns? Yeah, INS. Here we go. All right, very low volume. Not something that I would trade right away. I just, strong downward pattern, definitely not something I would trade. Okay, I see why it is that you're calling this one out, right? As a very consistent pattern of it trying to hold above the SMA line. No indication of that just now. So yes, it can bounce here, but it would be better and makes more sense if it could bounce closer to the overall SMA line. So I would wait for indication of this thing breaking above the EMA line. So what did it do last time, right? When it was selling off, that changed its overall direction and broke above the EMA line and continued to make higher highs. So just give it time, be patient, especially if you think the margin of profit for recovery and you think the overall direction can be in your favor. So yeah, I would love to keep a close eye on this, but right now the direction is not in our favor. Sweet. Yeah, it looks like Diaz got rejected. Let's check it out. All right, yeah. We'll see. And again, I can be completely wrong. Wow, there it goes. Pushing up again. I could be wrong. It's not even that I'm wrong. It's just like, I'm not right. I'm not wrong. I'm just being cautious. I just want more there. I want there to be more confirmation. Do you guys get that? Like, I'm just trying to be more patient, especially with my dumb little entry yesterday. So I was trading very aggressively, and I'm probably going to trade aggressively today as well. And I was doing a really good job when it got me to like that $3,000 mark, right? Like, it was actually super quick that I actually was able to get to that point. But after I got to that, I was just like, I wonder if I could hit 5,000. And then I went in super aggressive without focusing on getting a good deal, without focus. It was more FOMO and more of just trying to hit the dollar goal. And again, you guys know when that happens, like you begin to break some of your rules and you make the excuse of it. You got to risk it to get the biscuit. And well, I risked it, and no, I didn't get it, right? I ended up losing like $270 to about $300 on that last trade, which then put me, instead of being up $3,000 on the day, put me up like $2,770, something like that. So overall, still an amazing day, very happy, very blessed, but I could have done better, and I think when you keep that composure, that would be great. So hopefully I can finish trading within the next hour or two. I have a lot of things that I have to, finish up today. So I'm excited about that, but that's actually something that I also wanted to talk to you guys about, and I can make a video about it later, but at least I can talk to you guys about it right now. I think one of the times, or when I began to really limit myself on the amount of time that I trade, was when I started to see myself consistently make more money. So like, you guys watch me trade, and when I'm trading within like the live stream and stuff like that, I feel like I do a really good job consistently staying green. They're not huge dollar amounts or anything like that, but I'm consistently green. And after giving myself an hour to maybe 2 hours of trading, I just simply call it a day, or that you hit a realistic goal for yourself. And after that, you just call it a day. I've found myself that like when I become too aggressive or give myself too much time to trade, I just begin to kind of sell myself on certain opportunities that aren't really good ones to maybe take advantage of. And because of that, I end up giving back some of my profits or go completely from, green to red. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but that's definitely something that I have found myself to found about myself, that like the more I limit myself, the better I do, because I become more selective with what opportunities I choose to take advantage of and stuff like that. So yeah, have you thought of creating a systematic way to trade instead of just no, not as of now. All right, so I think it has to do with there being some form of consistency with what it is that you're trading, and obviously the overall direction being in your favor. So if there's some form of consistency of a pattern, right, and it continues to indicate signs of an uptrend, and you can go off of that, it's easier for you to identify that. If there's a break of pattern, then that's where you can manage your risk and overall just cut losses. So this is going to be the last breakdown that I'm going to do today. This is TWST, so absolute last breakdown. So please, no more ticker callouts. Here we go. Okay, so kind of just consolidating, aggressively sold off, like the MACD, like the RSI. It's trying to find a support. No indications of a reversal just yet. I'm just gonna set my alert. So this is something that I would watch, not something that I would trade right now. And the pattern, in my opinion, is all over the place. So I wouldn't feel very comfortable trading this. But again, that's just me. Just wanted to share that with you. But Brennan, shoot, I didn't mean to. Sorry about that. I meant to show it. Someone messaged and it popped up. So you guys are talking about /GC. So it looks like you had a really strong push up, right? Wow. Okay. So what do we think about this? /GC pushed up very aggressively. /CL just sold off, right? So /CL selling off. So what assumption can we make, right? What would make sense for /CL? /GC. It's overbought, right? Overbought, overextended again. We don't want to trade against its overall direction, but because it's so overbought, if it does begin to sell off, then again, it's inverse ETF, which is then JDST. Makes sense on why that thing can begin to show and indicate signs of an uptrend. So it should have followed. So JNUG, which is the one that follows this, had a strong push up, but this thing was the one that was selling off very aggressively. So then I would pay attention to its inverse, which is JDST. And then we should be able to see that, where's it at? Right here. Yeah, so it's oversold. Ask yourself if the margin of profit's worth it, and maybe just keep a close eye on it. So if it does begin to show signs of recovery. But yeah, we already finished doing breakdowns, but there we go. So, shoot, there we go. There we go. Due for a pullback. Yeah, I like how you guys were able to point that out. And all right. Trying to read some of your guys' messages. It looks like natural gas is again trying to find a support right around that general area, or it's trying to change its direction. Most likely finding a support, but hopefully for all those that are rooting for degas, which it's up to you guys. As of right now, it is, yeah, but it's already showing signs of it making higher highs above the EMA line. So most likely natural gas will begin to push up. And we can simply keep a close eye out for that. But really do appreciate you guys' time. Again, let's not be hopeful and make decisions based off of what we want that happens. But let's just make sure that we understand the overall direction. If the direction is not clear, that we give it time and that we wait for that overall confirmation. So, all right. Sorry, man, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. No, you didn't. You didn't hurt my feelings at all. I just wanted you to know that I wasn't rooting for, that like I'm not ever rooting for a specific side or anything like that. So, and then for me to not root for that, I would hope that it would make sense for you guys to also not root for, hey, I want DES to continue to uptrend, or I want you guys to continue to downtrend. It's like, it's a 50-50, right? So why not just wait for the confirmation and make sure that the direction is clear, and you make your decision based off of that and not what you hope and desire. That was the whole thing about that. But appreciate you guys' time. Continue working hard. Continue following your dreams. Let your passion be what drives your success. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.